Hey everyone, Haggy here, and welcome to our episode 5 of Breaking the Meta. As you can probably tell already, this week's Pokemon is Empoleon. Empoleon is a UU tier Pokemon that I do not have the most experience with, so some of these sets will be pretty standard. I think one of them is pulled directly off the website, and some of these sets are just kind of my take on what Empoleon would be good at. So our very first set here is not its most popular set, but it's a set I thought might help. It's a supportive Empoleon set based around being physically defensive and helping your team set up rocks, keep stuff off the field, and wear down your opponent's Pokemon. So first of all, we're going to be doing some leftovers here to help Empoleon stay in there longer, recover off some of that damage, hopefully forcing the switch on their opponent, but we can't guarantee that one. We're carrying Stealth Rock so we can place up an entry hazard. Defog to remove our opponent's hazards, and if we have to, remove our own rocks, since we can just replace them. Scald so he has an attacking move and the possibility to inflict the burn. Right there, 30%, great move. There's probably some other options that you can use in this slot, to be honest. I mean, looking through the list here, Knockoff would be pretty good on the defensive set here on this little set. But I prefer Scald in this case, and Toxic being our last move to get residual damage up against the Pokemon. One big threat against your Empoleon though, just remember this while you're using him. Magnezone will wreck Empoleon. It will absolutely wreck it, so as a possibility, if you'd like to keep your Empoleon alive and able to switch against it, you can do Shed Shell. Instead of these leftovers right here, we'll just go ahead. Holder may switch out even when trapped by another Pokemon, it's perfect. But that's just one of those, it could be another option. Next one is my personal favorite set for it. Like I said, I don't have a ton of experience with it, but I know enough about Empoleon, and I've seen it used enough to know kinda how to use it. My favorite set is this one right here, the Agility set. We're going to be running a Life Orb here for flexibility, of course. The moves are Agility, Scald for his stab attack, Ice Beam for coverage, and Grass Knot for coverage. Now, for my personal preference, because I think I grabbed this one off the website a little bit too, like some of it, I would run Flash Cannon in this for Fairy types, because this would make him tear through your opponent's fairies. Preferably, you'd switch in your Empoleon on a Pokemon that he can take a hit well from. Don't really have a lot of examples of that one in the current tier. Coming to mind, Fairy types would not be able to do a lot against him, especially special attacking ones. So that would be a great Pokemon to switch him into. Clefable being an example of that. There's several Pokemon you can switch him into quite easily. Also, by the way, feel free to sub the Life Orb with the possibility of an Air Balloon. Air Balloon just means he cannot be hit by ground type moves. That could give him the ability to switch in on like a Scarfed or Banded Pokemon that uses the Earth type move. Ground type move, sorry about that. And then just go for the Agility there and start sweeping through their team. But I think you'll want the power that Life Orb provides. Way too much for that. Oh, by the way, I just realized I did not mention this before. Our Empoleon on this set is Bold, boosting its defense, lowering its attack, and we have max HP and defense investment, whereas 4 in special attack. This Empoleon is max special attack and speed investment, a modest nature to boost special attack, and 4 investment in HP, which really isn't all that necessary, but it works. This set is a really good sweeper, to be honest with you. The biggest issue for this set will yet again be Magnezone and Conkeldurr. We'll put a dent into him, so will Breloom, a lot of the strong fighting types in here. A good way to counter this though would probably be to bring Talonflame. Talonflame would be an excellent partner for Empoleon. They cover each other's weaknesses really well. Except for the common electrical weakness. Carrying a ground type Pokemon on your team, especially more defensive ones such as Donphan. Oh, sorry guys. Must be those allergies, but in all seriousness, I'm a huge fan of Donphan. Oh wow, that was a pun, I'm sorry for that. But yes, Talonflame would make an excellent teammate. It would help cover his ground type weakness and take out targets that he can't. Or she can't, don't want to be sexist here with my Empoleon. But Talonflame, excellent. Staraptor, excellent. You could also go for more defensive line types, but I think that'd help get rid of the point, and this wouldn't work. So, on to our next set here. I had to do this one just for the fun of it, and this is not one I definitely recommend playing too seriously, but if you want to change it up and maybe surprise your opponent, Choice Banded Physical Empoleon. Items obviously Choice Band on that one. We have max HP and attack investments with an adamant nature to boost his attack. We have the Defiant ability, so that way if any of his stats get lowered by the opponent, such as by a Sticky Web, you know, switch in, lower his speed by 1 stage, but get the +2 boost to his attack is like instantly having a Sword Stance. Also means Intimidators, that's a good thing to go against, or Pokemon that are just preparing to lower a stat in general. We're carrying Aqua Jet for priority, since obviously our Empoleon is very slow. It gives him a nice stab priority attack, kind of like a Azumarill there. Would be the easiest thing I can compare that to. Waterfall for our big stab hit. EQ for coverage, because he just really doesn't have a lot of good Steel type physical moves. And honestly, Steel's not the best offensive move type either. So EQ just gives him some really nice coverage. It doesn't really cover a ton of threats per se, and it does give him about the same coverage as Water, so I would recommend if you want to change it out for something that you like. Rock Slide would be really good in the current tier. Shadow Claw would be pretty decent. I can't really see anything wrong with that. To be honest, looking at this, I'd probably go with Rock Slide. And Knockoff will be his final move. Knockoff gets at 1.5 times power when he hits an opponent's item off, and it also gives the ability to knock the items off your opponents. This, like I said though, would not be a set you want to take super seriously. It's not all that good. It's viable, it's definitely viable, and it could make Empoleon a very powerful revenge killer, but only if it fits your team would I ever recommend doing this one. Now, on the flip side of this, there's Choice Specs, and this one fits him a lot better. A lot better, but we're going to be running this, by the way, at max HP, max special attack, with a massive 111 special attack base stat. He's going to wreck some face. That modest nature, that special attack, that HP. He's bulky enough where he can go in there, and he can wreck some serious face. We're going to be carrying the Hydro Pump for a powerful stab. You could either do Scald or Surf in its place. I would recommend either. Surf is slightly more powerful, but Scald gives you the chance to burn. It just kind of depends on that one. Do you want the chance to burn, or do you want the stronger stab? But we have Hydro Pump on there for now. Ice Beam for some excellent coverage, and be able to hit some targets that his other abilities didn't hit just as well. Flash Cannon for the fairy types, and it's really more or less there to counter fairies the most. Like I said earlier, Steel isn't the best offensive typing, but it's good enough to work. It's definitely good enough to work, especially in the current metagame. I won't be too concerned about that one. Oh, well, I didn't think about this earlier, but on the physical Empoleon we just had up, Choice Band, Earthquake would pretty much guarantee him a 1hit KO on Heatran, but not enough where I'd say the water type moves would also just do just about as good. They're not 1-hit KOs, but they definitely threaten it out anyway, so depends how you look on that one. And we also have Grass Knot on here for coverage, but like I said, there's usually alternative options, and no matter what you do. Signal Beam would be a weird choice because, honestly, in this current metagame, there's not a lot of Psychic types floating around OU. So I really can't bring myself to recommend it. I would just go with Grass Knot at this current point. It just gives some good coverage for stuff you can't normally hit, I suppose. Icy Wind might be an issue to slow down your opponent for assistance to one of your other Pokemon, but I just can't recommend that. yeah, there's not really much more to say about the Empoleon Choice Spec set. I figure it's kind of self-explanatory, you know, but it's good. And then for our final set is a substitute Pitaya Berry set, or Pitaya, please don't pick me apart for pronouncing that wrong. What the Pitaya Berry does is when your Pokemon is at 1/4 max HP or less, it boosts its special attack by 1 stage. The way this set works is you're kind of supposed to switch him in when he can take a good hit. This is directly off the website, by the way. For Smogan.com. He's supposed to switch into where he can take a really easy hit, or, you know, like your opponent sets up hazards or something, get the agility off, and then just keep substituting until he gets to that 1/4 health and gets set up, hopefully behind the substitute, and then just sweep through your opponent's team. It does work. It definitely does. The only thing that I can say that would pick him apart is Mach Punch. If you don't have that substitute up, will just tear him to shreds. I honestly think a Choice Banded Talonflame will also be able to tear him to shreds there. So that probably won't work too well either, but he can hit the Talonflame a lot better than he can hit, you know, Breloom or Conkeldurr, probably being the two most popular Mach Punchers there. It's definitely a very viable set, though. Like I said, I think my favorite overall would definitely be the Agility Life Orb set. It has the most flexibility to me. This would be the set I would personally recommend and that I'm going to use this week, but I might goof around with the other sets this week too. The next episode of Showdown Session should have a little bit of Empoleon gameplay there. I will have a team build around it ready, but I'm not going to bother to try to start off in the lower tier this time. Every time I keep doing that, we just get into these kind of mid-level battles where we just can't get enough challenge out of it to really make it entertaining. So I'm going to save you guys that this time. For the finale of this, I think we need to find some good teammates for our Empoleon. Earlier we said things like Talonflame, found in this tier, is an excellent teammate. He helps carry, or cover, the ground type weakness. He can hit targets that Empoleon can't deal with very well. The combination of the electrical weakness, though, might not help that much. You definitely want to carry a solid ground type on your team, if you can. My recommendations for that are Donphan, Excadrill. Both of those are really good for getting rid of hazards too, especially if you're not running a support set on your Empoleon. I don't really recommend Hippowdon that much. I just don't like it that much, to be honest. Nidoking might almost be a good partner, but they're both special attackers. Talonflame also helps give you a strong physical attacker on your team that can cover up for, you know, special balls like Blissey and that kind of thing. But Talonflame and Blissey do not get along very well because the amount of recoil Talonflame takes is just devastating to itself, so I wouldn't really recommend that one per se. There's definitely some better physical attackers. If you're really worried about those kind of walls, you can get Conkeldurr out there. Works excellently. Lucario, Breloom, all those would do just fine. Garchomp would make a pretty good teammate for it. It's fast, it's got all the stats it needs to really assist here. Empoleon helps cover the ice weakness on Garchomp too, so great partner to it, honestly. If you are worried about that Magnezone though and want something to deal with that, Mamoswine would be a great partner for it too. They're both kind of slow, but Mamoswine is just perfect. It's a beautiful Pokemon. I would also go so far to recommend Sticky Web support for this team. I don't want to say like it's necessary, but since Empoleon isn't always the fastest Pokemon in the world, it could help give you that edge. The two best Sticky Web setters in my opinion are Galvantula, which you'll find in UU. It's very obvious though when you bring out the Galvantula that it's going to do Sticky Web, so a lot of people can predict that. It kind of depends how you look at that, but it's got some really powerful stab moves that can help out your team too. And my personal favorite is actually Ariados. because it's just not seen very often at all, and a lot of people just don't know what to do with it. I wouldn't go so far to recommend using Ariadoso on your team as that. It's a little bit gimmicky. If they do know what's going on, it'll get annihilated. But other than that, honestly, Empoleon, a really strong Pokemon, it would definitely be of your best interest to try it on your team at some point. Just because it's in UU doesn't mean it's not powerful enough to compete with all these OU Pokemon. If you're looking at the tier list here, it's definitely got some Pokemon it can do fine with. And Aegislash, by the way, just a little update for you guys, has been banned to Ubers. I don't know when they're going to update that, but that means Empoleon doesn't have to worry about this either. Though the Scald would almost be a good check to that. Conkeldurr is going to be a big threat against you though, Ferrothorn will be a big threat. Garchomp will be a big threat with that Earthquake if you're not carrying the Air Balloon. Other than that, I mean, there's always going to be threats against you here, but that's why you carry other things on your team. And one agility up, as long as the Garchomp isn't Scarfed, you should outspeed. Ice Beam will just end it. Or your Mamoswine can deal with Garchomp very easily. So, without further ado, I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, or you want to recommend a Pokemon for the next episode of Breaking the Meta, please leave it down in the comments. And without further ado, if you enjoyed my video, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends if you'd like to. Spread the message. I'm really trying to grow right now, so it'd be a big help. But, everybody, have a great day.